How's it going? Welcome back to Stage's Jiu-Jitsu. Didn't film last weekend, it was Thanksgiving, we want to take that break. And I also want to tell you guys, hope you guys had a wonderful Thanksgiving. And for the announcement for this video is going to be that we finally launched the Elemental Yoga channel. It's up and running, go check it out. I'm going to leave the link in the description and go and subscribe. And for today's video, I got Evan, my buddy, back. That way now I can actually do I can fully go 100% with my resistance and it's not going to hurt him. It might hurt him, it depends on what his mood feels like today.
I'm feeling a little delicate.
For today's video, I'm going to be going over a mount escape. Now, there's two mount escapes that I really recommend you learn, and it's going to be the only ones you need, and that's the elbow knee mount escape and the piston mount escape. Now, because you guys know how I am and I go with a lot of details, I'm going to stick with one today, and that's going to be the elbow knee mount escape, and I'll do a part 2 with the piston mount escape. Okay, so we're going to start off with the elbow knee mount escape, so I'm going to go low mount. So just so you guys know, low mount is whenever my partner has his whole body flattened across my upper torso. So high mount is when he actually postures up. So if he postures up, this is high mount, right? We're going to do an escape for this one as well. But for now, he's going to go low mount. Legs are going to be crisscrossed, or he could actually hook onto my shins. It doesn't really actually matter. The escape for this will be the same. So let's start off with the first thing is the hands. You know, what are my hands going to be doing? What are they not going to be doing? So what I don't want to do when I'm in the bottom of the mount, I always say don't do this, is hugging your partner, right? If we're talking sport jiu-jitsu, I never advise hugging your partner. So if I do this, right? So the first thing you're going to notice is I'm not going to be escaping anymore, right? There is no more a process of escape. I'm just hugging and just kind of panicking. Number 2, I expose the biggest area that's going to allow him to have the most control. That's high mount, meaning that his knees are going to go in my armpits. If I do this and his knees slide up, I'm so screwed now because I just feel stuck and I can't bridge, I can't do anything. Now strikes are available, he can do all sorts of stuff. So I never want to be in this position here. So where are your hands going to actually be? So always when you're on the bottom of mount, elbows are going to be tight. So again, to prevent his knees from going into high mount. And then number 2, my hands are going to be on the hips. I want to push some resistance down just to get them a little bit lower. I don't want him to start climbing up. So now, if he tries to climb up to high mount, what's going to happen, he's going to run into my forearm, he's going to run into my elbow. And that's what I want to go for. So I have my elbows nice and tight. And now once I've covered this up my arm section, now we're going to move to the lower half. So again, we're here, no hugging, nothing like this. Don't try to grab a collar. Don't try to choke him. No submissions. Elbows tight, hands in the hips, that's where it's going to be. Now, moving on towards the legs. Look what my legs are going to do. Once I have my arms in place, I need to take care of the legs. Now, what are we trying to go for? So the ideal is this. I want to break the legs and have my feet on the inside. His feet on the outside, my feet on the inside. That's what I want to do. Now, how do we do that? Because he's actually making these grips for a reason, because it makes it tough for me to break. Whether it's this or the crisscross version, he just locks his legs together like closed guard. That's the same thing, right? Because look, I'm trying to get my legs on the inside, but he has that real estate. So how are we going to do it? If he has the grapevine effect, so the grapevine is this one, hooking onto the shins. So what I'm going to do is watch, kick my foot to the outside. So kick to the outside, circle my foot in, bring my heel to my butt. If you lack that range of motion, so some people will only feel like they can be here. So if that happens, you break it, right away just flatten your leg and touch your knee to the ground. That's very key, touch your knee. Because if my knee is airborne, he digs right back in. You see that? So always make sure you break and you want to dig that knee to the ground. Now if he tries to dig underneath it, we should be good to go, no problem. Elbows nice and tight, hands on the hips. Now that's when they're hooking the shins. If they're crisscrossing their feet together, that doesn't really actually do anything. So I got to use my feet to peel the foot. So the rule of thumb I would always say is he's going to crisscross with one leg over the other. He can't do it any other way. So just feel which foot is on top, and then you push that foot. So it doesn't matter what it is, you push it. Then you do a little bit of like foot coordination and get that leg flat. Now you're probably thinking, which leg do I flatten out? And that really, it matters, it does, but for now it doesn't matter. Just pick whichever leg you want to flatten out, have one leg flat, and make sure the other one again is on the inside. So get that heel nice and tight, close to you, just like this. So once you're here, figure out what he's doing. If he's crisscross feet, find that top foot, peel that leg, fight for the inside. You have to fight for that inside position, right? Always go for that. Now, once you've won this stage, what are we going to do now? Okay, the leg that I've strained out, that side, I'm going to drag his foot into half guard. Now, before I do that, we're going to bring it back to the upper body again. So what I want to do from here is actually have one arm, right? My arm is going to go across his belt line. Now, when you bring the arm across, I'm going to do a little bit of some bridges because right now he has a lot of weight on me. So if I try to take this arm and bring it across, it's going to be a real grind. It's just not going to happen. So by having a little bit of a bridge, I can push my arm through. Now,
When I say to do this, you have to be very careful. What you do not want to do is roll your shoulders so that your shoulders line up with the ceiling. So I don't want to do this. This is an issue because now it exposes my back. And you really do not want to do that. So always make sure it's a diagonal. And when I bring my arm across, you think of your wrist on the hip. And if he postures up for a second, my elbow on the other hip. So it's hip to hip. And you don't move it. Don't move it from there. Don't bring it too high. Because not only do you have an issue of getting turned to your side like this, he could get what's called total control, which is basically if I bring my arm too high up like this to my wrist to my head, he passes it behind the head, and this is a nightmare. So always make sure. So he goes back to the low mat again. So my arm's on the outside. I do a little bit of a bridge, get them arms through, and now look, double up. So palm over hand over palm, and I push just like this. Once I push, now this is where he's gonna feel the feeling like he's gonna lose the mount. Why? Look, my leg is flat. I have control of his hip. He can't slide up. So he tries to slide up. He can't go anywhere. He tries to dig his leg under my leg. He can't. So now, all I have to do to escape is push. So watch. I'm going to take my hand, and I'm going to push on that knee. As I push on that knee, a few things are going to happen. I can either dig my knee underneath his leg. So you see how that really beautifully brings me into the half guard. Or sometimes if you go back to mount, they're a little bit too heavy. So you take that leg back over again. Sometimes they're too heavy. Sometimes you're trying to do it, and it's just like their legs they have so much weight. So use your outside foot, drag the ankle. You can drag the ankle, or you can butterfly hook it. You can actually lift it like this. You see how nice that is? Now, once I catch the half guard, so let's do a more clean version one more time. So I'm here, I have my arm across, making sure I don't turn to my side, making sure my wrist doesn't come up to my neck. Once I push and I drag, okay. Here's where it could actually, again, end up in a bad situation. Still better than being in mount, but it can still end up bad. What I don't want to do, so what I don't want to go for is just turning like this. Because then he's going to smash in half guard. Now I'm like, oh man, I got to escape this. And who knows, maybe you retired escaping the mount and you just made everything worse. So watch, once I escape the half guard, immediately my arms are going to go from lower half to upper body. I'm going to bring my arms up like this. Why? Because if he tries to collect, notice what he needs. He needs shoulder pressure and underhook. So he needs a shoulder pressure, and he needs this. So he gets essentially, so this is going to be a little bit advanced to say, but it's a harness, it's a seatbelt grip, but the other way around. It's from the top instead of the back, and it's a lot of control. So watch, by blocking the underhook, he tries to go for that underhook, he can't get it. Now what blocks the shoulder pressure? My hand here, watch. You see this? So when I block, I use my elbow, I'm going to frame against his chest. So right now I'm pushing against his chest. He can't get shoulder pressure and he can't get the underhook. All that's left now is a hip escape. Watch that hip escape and lift him up with my elbow. Clearing entry from my knee, and I lock that knee shield, and then you enter the Spartan shield. If you guys remember the Spartan shield, knee to elbow. Now if you try to drive through it, put weight on it, I'm going to be very, very powerful. So starting again from the top, right, because I know there's a lot of detail. So no hugging, don't do any bridging, don't waste energy like that. You really, honestly, you don't need it. So keep the elbows in nice and tight. You're gonna frame on the hip, and then again, once you're framing on the hip, elbows nice and tight, now I'm gonna break the feet. Break to the outside, circle in. Break to the outside, and at this point, if I choose to escape this side, flatten my leg out, make my knee nice and heavy. Now, once I've taken that space with my legs, my arm's gonna do their work, bring my arm across, and frame. Wrist on one hip, elbow on the other hip. Now I'm ready to go. Now once I get in this position, I push that knee down. If his knee is too high up, right, let's say his knee's high up and I can't reach my hand, use your elbow first. Use your elbow, then use your hand. Dig with your knee or drag with your leg, right? You can drag it or butterfly hook it if you guys remember. So also have the butterfly hook. This one's really, really nice. Once you lock the half guard, immediately transition bicep, elbow nice and tight. So he tries to smash me, it's not gonna happen, he doesn't have the grips. Now I hip escape, look, I'm hip escaping, elevating. This clears axis, look at that axis I gained from my knee shield, then establish your Spartan shield. That's it for the video, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to check out the Elemental Yoga page in the description, put a link. It's gonna be awesome, subscribe. And on top of that, I want you guys to subscribe to our channel, like our videos, share it, do all that stuff. Helps a lot. And I'll see you guys in the next video.